Welcome to Accountable Love, home of the Love Snobs, where love is a group journey. My name is Jerry.
My name's Aziz.
Today we're going to talk about not biting your tongue to spare an ego.
That's cool.
Home of the Love Snobs, Love Snobs, Love Snobs. The Love Snobs have surfaced. You know, the people that actually use honesty to communicate. The genuine friends that refuse to let you feel sorry for yourself. Yes, those people.
You know, the friends that collect your tears every time life makes your eyes rain. The Love Snobs, the people that don't allow you to settle. Support your dreams, but don't support you sleeping with just anybody.
You know, the friends that are so judgmental they ask you to stay away from negative people and encourage you to surround yourself with positive people.
Yes, that friend. The friends that love you even when you refuse to love yourself.
You know, the Love Snobs.
Said it all, Chief. Said it all. We're going to get it done.
So today we're going to talk about, you know, a lot of times people avoid conflict.
Definitely.
So because they avoid conflict and they know that they may hurt someone's feelings, they hold back and they're not totally honest.
Definitely.
But how could we really build a solid relationship if we're not honest with one another? And kind of remove the ego away from it and just deal with what's in front of us.
Definitely. Like, look at if what they're saying is relevant.
Absolutely.
Is it relevant? Is it going to advance us? Is it going to benefit us? Is it going to promote the group and promote the whole and promote us in our relationship? Like, to define terms is very important.
Absolutely.
Like, we need to understand who we are in the relationship at times. You know what I mean? We talk about it all the time. Like, we did a whole joint discussion.
Yeah, where everyone brought something to the table.
Yeah, we talked about, no, I mean, in the discussion, we talked about
I was thinking what you bring to the table. But yes, you're right.
Attractiveness and how you date a partner that's really attractive. You know that they are attractive when it comes to attractiveness. You might look at them as out of your league, but you got them, you acquired them, obviously, and they want to be with you, and they decide to commit to you, and y'all living the life. But when they're getting more compliments, and when they, you know, when they feel the need to acknowledge maybe that they are better looking or whatever's going on, whatever the discussion's about, they should feel free, or they should be free to acknowledge their strengths without feeling like they're shrinking you. Yeah.
Well, yes, I'm glad that you went that route because I think a lot of people don't want to talk about their accomplishments, what they're good at, because they don't want the people around them to feel less than. But you can't make me feel less than. That's something that I feel about myself. You just may validate it. You may just confirm it, but it's something that I feel within myself. So it's a lot of people shrink down, they dim their light because somebody else is not where they are. And I think that that's something that we need to work on in general because everyone brings something different to the table. Everyone should know what that is. And if they want to be the master in that area, then they should practice. You know what I mean? Like, and then you'll
some
get there.
things is out of our control.
Absolutely. I can't play basketball.
Unless you go get plastic surgery.
Well, no, out of your control. But there's certain things like some people are gifted in certain areas, right?
Definitely.
So I could never be. Like I can never.
Some people are naturally gifted in certain areas. Some areas are acquired.
Yes.
So when certain areas are acquired, then obviously you can work towards it, or work to be as good as the person, or try to be as good as the person. And it shouldn't be a competition. But if you admire it, you want to have it also, so you try to acquire it. So I think that's the big thing. You can acquire something without taking from somebody else.
Absolutely.
You can be somebody's equal without stealing from them. So you can be a student and become a teacher without feeling like you have to overtake the teacher. Like you can just be at their level. But at the same time, I think where a lot of people have a hard time is where it's the natural talent.
Yes.
Where it's things that's naturally, like somebody's naturally good looking or naturally intelligent or like it comes natural. It's something that was a birthright. And I think they're like, oh, let's not talk about that because we can't change that. But it's still a fact. So when you deal with the facts, like if you're the best looking person in the room, you're the best looking person in the room. That's God given. If you was the smartest person in the room, you're the smartest person in the room. That's God given. Everybody knows a genius.
Yeah.
When you witness a genius, you know the genius exists.
Yeah.
My thing is you utilize the genius. Learn from the genius. See how the genius can support you. See how the genius, you can bond with the genius. See how you can bond with the person that's good looking.
And it shouldn't take away from you.
Definitely.
Like you should, if you are in the presence of a genius, then think about how, first of all, that's a blessing in itself, right? And just think about how you guys can basically coexist and learn from one another. Because just because the person's a genius doesn't mean that they're a genius in they're well-rounded in every area.
But we shouldn't have to even say See, that's what I mean by the belittling.
But I know
that you're saying it.
I think that it's important for our viewers to hear that.
Definitely. I think you understand. You are saying it, and I understood why you were saying it. I'm saying the fact that we feel the need to say it.
Yeah, you're right.
I feel the need
the PC part of it,
you're not great at, they're not great at everything. I think that's acknowledged. Let's say every time across the board that's something that we acknowledge. Everybody's not great at everything.
Absolutely.
So we don't have to mention it
Yeah,
anymore.
you're right.
When we're saying somebody's great, we don't have to belittle or take from them because they're at 90% where everybody else is at 70.
Yeah.
They're at a 90%, so that's 100 on the curve when it comes to humanity, because nobody's perfect. So we don't have to mention those things, and I think that's where that's where our speech and our communication gets stifled, because we start biting our tongues because we're nervous to offend. We start biting our tongues because we're nervous to belittle.
Or over-explain.
Because we feel people can't hear us.
Yeah, you're right.
And that's dealing with our self-worth. And confident people get attacked. Everybody knows leaders, people take shots at leaders. They hail them, then they nail them. They know that the person that's always raising their hand, always has something to say, they're frowned upon. So everybody focuses not to be that person. But when it's time to now lead something, it's time to start something, it's time to basically start a business or build strong relationships. In our understanding, it's leadership that now allows that to get done. It's leadership that brings groups together and teaches people what role they're strong at and what role they play in the overall goal.
Yeah.
So when you look at it, think about that. Like, that's what we really literally bite our tongues just so we don't offend other people or so other people can have their opinions. But what about you?
Yeah, agreed.
What about you? Is your opinion valuable? You have to start asking yourself those questions.
But we also spare people's feelings because we don't want to deal with it. like we don't want to deal with what come if I told you that I thought you were unattractive. You know what I mean? So or you're not my body type, or I think people also are selfish as well. So they don't say certain things, they hold back in certain areas because they don't want to deal with what comes with it. The emotion behind it. You know, when you say something to someone and it strikes a chord. When it strikes a chord. When it hits the chord.
It can strike a chord.
When you feel it some type of way. That also opens the door to other things, and people don't want to deal with that. So in turn, they just kind of leave it where it's at. They know you're sensitive, and it becomes, oh, you know how she is, or you know how he is, because guys are sensitive too. Yeah. Like, you know how he is, he's real sensitive, so I'm just not going to talk about that.
You went hard on that one.
I'm just saying.
They're so sensitive to, like,
they
went hard.
I know a lot of sensitive men.
Well, of course they're sensitive, because if you're always ready to put your hands on somebody, obviously.
Oh my God, are you serious?
Not you.
Oh, my God.
See, you was ready to go hard. We're not talking about your abusive past.
Sorry, you're right.
We're talking about men in general. If men feel like we call it macho, they feel like they got to put their hands on somebody, I'm sure there's insecurity somewhere there, unless it's self-defense.
But guys show insecurities in different ways, but again, they're very sensitive, and I'm not saying all of them.
But a lot of women
men are sensitive.
They do cater to
the men's
ego. And
yes, exactly.
Men are taught to cater to a woman's ego. We see it all the time. When we're watching TV, we see it all the time walking down the street. Like, you just don't do that to a woman. Yeah. You just don't say that to a man. Yeah, like how dare you say that to him? That belittles him. And I'm just looking like, he can say that.
Yeah, he can.
She can say that. Why are they biting their tongue? But why is somebody else cheerleading or feel like they got to come to their defense? So you're belittling that person more than I am because you feel a need to now have 2 versus 1. Yeah. So it's showing my strength. It's showing my power. You get what I'm saying? So, like, we're not talking about people who are, like, got kidnapped and tied to a rail somewhere. We're talking about...
rail?
I'm saying, we're not talking about those people that are at a disadvantage. Okay. We're talking about a person that... Yeah, we're talking about a person that's actually can stand up for themselves if they had the mouthpiece to do so. Yeah. And all of us, we talk about having value, or everybody having an opinion, or everybody having the right to speech, then we need to start using it. We need to start using our speech and stop looking for somebody else to pile on to now form a group against this particular person. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? Because that person does speak out.
But once it gets that route, then if I need an army of people to deal with you, then we have a problem. Like, definitely. You know what I mean? Like the fact, like it should never even.
Especially if it's a friendship.
Yeah, exactly. It should never get there. We should be able to have conversations or dialogue, or we should know where we stand with each other, what we're thinking, how we're feeling, even though we don't allow our feelings to dictate our next move, because that's essentially what we do with ego, right? If I'm catering to your ego, I'm allowing your feeling to dictate the whole relationship.
Definitely.
And then the relationship is one-sided.
So what are you talking about? Like when you think of ego, what comes to mind? Because
emotional blackmail.
we use ego, and a lot of people can use words, and we're against that all
Yes,
the time.
absolutely.
Like just using a word independent of and letting everybody else fill in the blank. So when you say ego, what do you mean by ego? Like what's the clear understanding?
So
of
it's
ego?
not it's not emotionally blackmail. It's basically feeding into somebody's insecurity.
Okay.
So you're essentially
Now that's clear.
you're being an enabler.
Definitely.
So if I have to overcompensate to make you feel better as a person, then that's an issue.
So wouldn't you say they're a servant as opposed to a friend?
Yeah.
Or as opposed to
absolutely.
a spouse? Because when you're in a relationship and you always have to be mindful of what you say all the time, you say less, right, which cripples your voice. You always in thought instead of in a natural action.
In action,
and
yeah.
it doesn't feel the same.
No.
You know what I'm saying? So now on your end, you feel a certain way, not to make
Resentful.
them feel a certain way. So now it turns into something greater and something a lot more unhealthy.
Yeah,
right?
but I also think that people are so used to that dance
Definitely.
that it's like second nature. You know, it's like, you know, it's an outside person looking in to say like, wow, this is really crazy. The dynamic of the relationship, like you have to cater to this person's every need. That's an issue, right?
Definitely.
Or their every feeling, or you have to speak to them in a certain way because that may like, you know, take them over the edge or whatever the case may be. And I think that we're so used to that it becomes the norm. It becomes the norm. Like you see it in the workplace, you see it in personal relationships, you see it with our children. Like we see it, like it just keeps repeating itself. So I think that, you know, as Love Snobs, and basically what we're about is really just changing the narrative.
Definitely.
And really working.
Changing the way we communicate. Like
Yeah, exactly.
Having more of a healthy communication. We strip our children's voice.
Absolutely.
Like your child says, oh, she's ugly or she's fat.
And
we
you're
don't
quiet, yeah.
educate them. We don't tell them, listen, you're not in a personal relationship, you're invading somebody else's personal space.
Yes.
But when they're like talking to their cousin or talking to somebody they have a relationship with, then it's like, what do you feel about that? And teach them how to communicate about what they feel, because that person your child may actually feel that way about that person. And it starts a dialogue. So if you teach them at a young age, listen, what you said is what you said. It is your view. But now this person has the right to explain their view. They have the right not to even be friends with you or not want to talk to you after that. So understand that,
you give them choice.
There's consequences to the action, but you should not stop what you're saying. If that's what you feel about them, you should be around people who can deal with your honesty. You should be around people who actually can take in what you say constructively and have a discussion about it. Because there's people that have said, okay, you're unattractive. I want to understand why. There's people that said that their last boyfriend was better looking than me. I want to understand why. I don't want to just like, I'm with them just because of my looks. I'm not narrowing it down. So like, why do people always think when you talk about looks, that's all you're about? But really, when you can't talk about looks, I think that's all you're about.
Yeah.
Because other than that, like when they told me that, I didn't feel like it shrunk me. I wanted to understand the next person. They pull up a picture and be like, yo, that person is better looking than me.
Yeah.
Like I can own it. I don't think I'm unattractive.
But
Better doesn't mean unattractive.
unattractive.
It doesn't go to extreme. It just means they might get 10% more women than I may get, just off their looks alone.
But there's nothing you can actually do about it
Definitely.
either. So it's like you get the information, you guys talk about it, and you move on.
Definitely.
Like,
and they're not with the person anymore, they're with you. So
it doesn't
like,
really
where
even
does
matter
the
at that
facts,
point. Yeah.
when do you apply the facts and when do you factor in the facts? So in that situation, I'm looking at them like, and I didn't even take offense, so I'm not gonna get defensive
Oh,
like,
so
well, you with me
this
or
a
not.
true story?
It's not. But
You
know
sound
what I
like
mean?
it. You okay? You're good looking, Aziz. You okay?
You know what I
It's
mean?
all right.
I mean, I'm feeling a little something.
I see it. I see it.
I got emotional.
Yeah, it's okay.
Nah,
Take
but
a
on the
water
serious side, I'm gonna take a water break.
Yeah.
But on the serious side, like, I done had it in reverse where I'm saying to somebody, but I know on the other end I can take it, meaning that I'm not hypocritical. I'm not a hypocrite, you know what I'm saying? So it's one of those things where I'm like, I want to be with an equal. I want to be with somebody who I can actually
Be
have
honest
a
with
discussion with
and-
and just talk about whatever
Yeah.
I want to talk about and have them talk about whatever they want to talk about. Because once you start cutting off the lines of communication, I've been in those relationships as well. I start cutting off the lines of communication, and then we drift further away. Just because we understand relationships don't mean when they're happening,
Yeah, it's a totally different situation.
When it's happening,
yes.
you can see it happening, but you're trying to work with somebody else. So it doesn't work just because you have a great understanding of relationships. You have to, both people have to have a good understanding, a great understanding, and be vested.
Absolutely.
Invested in what you agree upon. You know what I'm saying? So if another person is dealing with your sensitivity, I don't think sensitivity is a strength.
It isn't.
So we both need to factor that in. Being intimate is a strength. Being vulnerable is a strength. Sensitivity, I don't think that's a strength. I wouldn't necessarily say, well, I'm not going to say I don't think, I don't. It's not a strength.
The lines get a little blurred between sensitivity and compassion and compassion and vulnerability and compassion. Like all those things kind of create like this gray area, but
they're different. They're different terms.
Yeah, but if we're around people that want to be their best selves,
Definitely.
like if I believe, if that's a belief of mine that I want to be my best self and I want to lead from my strengths, then I should be around people that will be able to be honest with me, regardless of how I'm going to feel about it. Because in order for me to be in that best place, I have to get honest feedback.
Definitely.
I could never get to where I need to be if the people around me are just going to cater to what I'm afraid to hear.
Definitely. I think I wrote a quote.
He's a writer, by the way.
Okay. Well,
no, I'm not even joking. No, but that just don't belittle. We just talked about that. Like, just not belittle it. He's a writer.
Oh no. But belittling and being honest about it, I'm not belittling. I do write. I'm not a writer.
But I wanted you to take a second to let me finish my compliment.
Okay, go ahead, take your compliment. I'm a bass in it, even though you cut me off, but I'm a bass in it.
I sure did.
Go ahead.
He's a writer, by the way. He writes really well. Yes, your grammar may not be on point all the time, but the message is really, the message is there, and he really can, you have a way with words that most people don't, so you have a gift there. So anyway, so as he was writing on Facebook.
And as I was writing on Facebook before she, rudely interrupted, this is what we do.
Yeah, we're probably gonna argue about this later.
Oh, okay, so now I'm gonna abuse you off camera. This is what we was just talking about. But at the end of the day, I was talking about how honesty is like alcohol. It burns, but it disinfects.
Yes.
So it really helps you. It really helps you in the long run.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? It stings in the beginning, but it's going to help your relationship in the long run, because when people are looking at y'all actually communicating and feeling uncomfortable because y'all have a raw back and forth and y'all able to be honest with one another, there's going to be resentment in the long run because they can't do that with their partners.
Yeah.
So they need to learn from what y'all have, because there's a certain dance to when two people have a great understanding of who each other is, and a great understanding of how they think, and a great understanding of their learning styles and their love styles, and all this other stuff. It's really important to have that understanding, but at the same time, why would you stifle somebody who thinks the best of you?
Yeah.
They're your partner. So if they're saying something about you, it's just something you may need to correct. It's something that may be factual. It's something that may be used to make a greater point. Let's not stay focused on the negative component, because when we talk about free speech, understand, it's all of it.
Yeah.
It's not just, oh, your shoes look nice today.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, your hat is cute. Like a lot of people compliment me, and I watch people that it's just, you're just complimenting me all the time. Like, let's have a real discussion. I'm not great with small talk, as we all know.
Yeah.
You're better.
I am.
You're better. People love you.
I know, they do.
They love you. They stay away from me if they're not willing to have no. They feel like if you're not having an enlightened discussion, I can't be around.
If you're not putting on your Malcolm X glasses, don't come over.
But you used Okay. But you used to always feel that way, right?
I did. Because at the time I didn't want to do the deep dive.
Yeah.
I really wanted to stay on the surface, and I only wanted to, actually I used to use you. I used to come over whenever I needed to bounce ideas off of you and kind of help me problem solve certain things that were going on in my life.
She's in AA.
I'm in AA, yeah.
She's in AA. She's really in AA.
And,
but go ahead. My name is Jerry, and I used to use Aziz.
Yeah.
So I was in an abusive relationship.
He was. Probably still is. But anyway, the point is that I used to come over and use him as my sounding board so that I can be stronger to the people that I was around, but yet I wasn't really fostering those relationships that I later learned to foster later on based on the skills or even just changing my beliefs.
Well, you started just using my friends. You started just coming and using me for my friends, because I did all
I sure did.
Yeah, I did all the
shout out to Jasmine. But yeah, you're right.
I made sure I was around people who were accountable and love, and you would just be like, oh, let me come over there in the camp. That's just, we can just be who we want to be and say what we want to say and do what we want to do, and nobody's really just sugarcoating things.
Well, the point
and
is,
then you go back to the
yeah,
sugarcoat.
yeah. So I was basically.
You had a sweet tooth.
Well, no, I was like.
Before you was on that
you were
diet,
church.
you had a
I used to go to church for Easter, for Christmas. I was that type of Catholic. But the point is that I will come and use you for certain things, and I had to kind of reevaluate my life and the decisions I was making and the relationships that I had, and really think about who I wanted to be and what I want to get out of these relationships.
Definitely.
And I was also, because when I was around you guys were always taking the deep dive, and at that time that was too deep for me, and I didn't. Yeah, I used to feel.
Always taking the deep dive?
But now I know better. At the time, I thought like I didn't want to have to be like scholarly and like have these like Dawson's Creek conversations. Like I didn't want to be that person, and that's how I felt around you. Like you guys are using all these big words, and like it was just. That's how I viewed you guys, because I was insecure.
Definitely.
Sorry, because I was insecure, and so I had to learn that once I started to be around you more and really got to know you again.
This is her being honest. This is the honest stuff we talking about. Don't bite
you
your
never
tongue.
heard this?
Don't bite your tongue. No, I heard this.
Oh, but once I
Your
realized that you guys are more my people than the people that I was around, it made me reevaluate what I was doing.
I mean, it was just.
But it started with insecurity.
It's a substance.
Because
like
you guys.
If you around, if you're the big girl in the room and you around a bunch of people who exercise.
I was the big girl in the room too, actually.
I think it becomes a little different.
It does.
But when when you're like, listen, I don't want to be as fit as they are, but I do need to have better habits.
Yes.
I do need to do things that's a little better. This is not healthy. I think it changes your mentality overall, and I think that's what. And I know accountable love is about changing the mentality. It's about having a lifestyle, because you even taught me, listen, there's a way you say, oh, I'm going on a diet.
Yes.
And then there's a lifestyle change. A lifestyle change is something you put in place that you can maintain for a lifetime.
Yes.
A diet is something you do just so you can go on spring break.
Yes.
There's a big difference. So I think like that's something you taught me, and something that I use to this day as a example of how accountable love is the lifestyle.
Yes, it is the lifestyle.
So you wasn't ready for the lifestyle, you was dieting.
Yeah, I was dieting.
You was dieting. So you'll come over, oh, I'm on a diet. You need something real smooth. You need to bring something back to your friends. You need to have that deep discussion.
I was you over there.
you was doing your thing. But I think I think you also knew that you wasn't a person at the time that I'm gonna admire. You know what I'm saying? Because I think that's what's big in the relationship now. You're somebody I can look at and admire as a person. I could respect as a person. And before it would be like, yo, what did you just do? What was going on over there?
Yeah.
How did you let that girl say whatever, but you never said nothing back? So I'm like trying to
I was getting punked on the other side.
I'm like trying to insert. Wait up, I'm trying to insert health into your relationship, and you like, yo, I don't want that. I'm not saying necessarily you was getting punked, but you was letting a lot of things slide to maintain your relationship. Because if you would have had those discussions you need to have, the relationships was going with it.
Yeah, you're right.
So I was just saying, like, we'll have a discussion, and I'll hear you talk about something. And I'm like, wait up. So you didn't have nothing to say about that? And then you're like twiddling your fingers, looking at the cloud like God is coming to earth.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't understand what was going on.
Yeah,
but
I wanted to live both lives, and I got enough from you, and then enough to take back to do whatever I was doing. But the point was that I was insecure. I didn't feel like I could have been your equal at that time.
Definitely.
And I was leading with my insecurities, and that's the thing that kind of set that had that wall between us. Once I matured, and I think that I worked on some insecurities. Like, I don't feel insecure about the things that we need to talk about, except for certain things like religion. But there's I still have insecurities, but it's
faith.
More faith.
Not religion.
Well, yeah, faith. So I still have my insecurities, but it's different. It looks different. Our conversations are different. The bounce back, the recovery is different.
Definitely.
I don't feel like, yes, you say things that may sting.
Confidence, you
but
learned
at the
the
same
lifestyle
time,
of confidence.
Yeah, at the same time, I can take 2 days, think about it, come back and say, well, I was doing some thinking and ... Like, you taught me too that, if you don't like what I'm saying, change it. So, you can't have a problem and then
if it's true,
yeah.
Change it.
If you want to change it, then change it. If you don't like the way that...
Don't force me to change what I'm saying.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
change your narrative.
that's what I learned from you. Like, if you say things to me that that I believe kind of hits me a little deeper than other things, then I go back and I self-reflect and think about, you know what, do I want to continue to be this person or
Definitely.
be that label, whatever it is that you may have said, and then change it or work on changing it.
Definitely.
Because I don't necessarily want to be that person.
Across the board, I done had those people, I mean, a lot earlier in life, but I was doing a lot of stupid things.
Yeah.
And I had a bunch of friends that didn't match what I believed in my faiths and things I was trying to give back to the world. And I was becoming a delinquent and doing all kinds of dumb things. So I know firsthand how it happens. And I know firsthand, I mean, I never really been the person that bit my tongue.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I never really been that person.
His mother.
But
she got the worst.
I had to learn the opposite. I had to learn that you can't invade other people's space just walking down the street saying random things to people just because you believe you can fight.
Yeah.
Or you can believe you have a crew behind, or you believe you can handle yourself.
Yes.
It's still infringing on people. It's bullying.
Yeah, absolutely.
So at the end of the day, you got to understand the thin line between bullying somebody, bringing somebody down, and actually having a discussion about what you truly feel about them. Because a personal relationship is different than having somebody walking down the street and you look ugly. Like that, I think now you're trying to badger them.
But
even though you feel it's true to you, it's not you don't have a personal relationship with that person. So that's what I had to learn the difference was. I don't have a personal relationship with you. So me telling them their truth is not necessarily, it might be infringing.
Yeah, but it's a conversation with purpose.
Definitely.
And I think that that's essentially what it is. Like,
definitely.
And it also deals with intent. Mm-hmm. If I know that you have my best interest at heart, it may hurt a little bit. Not even hurt, it may sting, but I know that you want the best from me. You want me to lead with my strength. You want me to be the best person. So you're not trying to be malicious.
Definitely.
And I think that once people identify
Which goes back to beliefs.
Yeah, basically
beliefs
it all starts with, yeah, it is.
What you believe is everything. What you believe about somebody is everything.
What you believe about yourself, what you believe about everyone,
Definitely.
The people around you.
So if you think you're with a person, you really need to, and you're saying something out your mouth, you really need to know what that relates to the person.
Yes,
because
absolutely.
I'm not saying just freelance, but you really got to look at what you believe and then have the discussion. Because if you can't openly have a discussion with somebody, 9 times out of 10, you don't think the best of them, and you're holding it to yourself, and you're using them for you're being opportunist. You're using them for something.
Exactly, because they wouldn't be around otherwise.
It being an equal relationship. Because
Absolutely.
people that feel like equals, they clown on each other, they talk to each other, they have talks about each other's partners. Like, don't talk about him. If her partner's handsome, why can't you say her partner's handsome? If her partner, you probably would have dated her partner if she wasn't dating him. You already know the lines is drawn.
Absolutely.
You already know through your relationship with friends, the line is drawn.
There's integrity.
There's integrity. There's a lot of things that come with it. So why can't you have the discussion? And it's complimenting the person. It's not really taking away, but it's also having a dialogue. Like, if I'd have seen them first, you might have been in trouble. Why can't you have that dialogue? Because you might have been in trouble. Like, I might have had and then they sitting in the background with the other friends like, you got to watch her. No, I don't have to watch her because she has integrity.
Yeah, she would never do that.
Part 2 is if she sleeps with my man and he sleeps with her,
then
he owes more to me than she does in that regard. You know what I mean? So, like, there's so much that goes, there's so many layers to it, and I'm going to hold you more accountable than I'm my partner. I gotta keep my partner away from her because he might stray. No, actually, you become a benefit because if my partner does stray, I'd rather know it.
You did me a favor, yeah.
I'd rather know it by my friend doing it. And that might be a little walk for other people or viewers, but that's how I get down. Like, I'd rather know it in my face than I have to find out some other chick did it. So at the end of the day, if my partner's gonna leave, they're gonna do something with whoever.
Yes, absolutely.
So if it's my friend, if my friend didn't tell me and had me looking stupid for months, then that's where the problem comes. But if they did it and I know right away, they came and told me, then I think my partner's done, my friend is still, involved. So, and I think it's a whole discussion that needs to be had in general. But the point is, why is the open lines of communication not really open? Why is there all these stipulations for people's egos?
Self-preservation, honestly.
Because it has nothing to do with like the greater good.
No, it really
isn't. That's not helping nobody.
No.
So many people feel like they're in a prison. So many people talk to strangers. I can't really talk to anybody else about it. You know how many people come and talk to me like, I can't even talk to nobody else about
That's like
this.
a guy's number
and I'm
one
like,
pickup line.
You got like 7, 8, 20 friends.
Yeah, your
How
Facebook
can't
is
you talk?
lit, right?
Yeah, it's popping. You popping on social media. I'm dry. I'm running around with 2 likes. You got 75,000 likes. And you running around talking about I got no friends.
Yeah, that's
So
crazy.
which one is it? Can you talk to people or can't you? But most people do their personal life, they politicians in their personal life. So they feel trapped in their skin. And that's sad.
It
So,
is
I
very
mean, that's
sad.
why we do our podcast. So we can enlighten people, we can encourage people.
We do our
not just
our
encourage, but
sessions.
give people the courage.
Yeah.
We got our relationship building sessions. Like, we give people the courage, and not give people, we encourage people.
We support.
We support people
the process.
to have the courage
Yes.
to actually have discussions that need to be had. And you'll be surprised all the things that happen. You'll be surprised what kind of relationships you foster. You'll be surprised how people will now respond to you and actually talk to you about what they thought and how it opens up the line of communication. And you'll be surprised how maybe y'all won't talk for a little while.
But when you
how
guys
y'all-
come back together,
how
you guys stronger than
y'all
ever.
are.
Yep.
So you never know. People need time to digest. If you had a truth from 2 years ago,
Yes.
people's gonna need time to digest the fact that you've been lying to them for 2 years.
Yes.
So let's be for real here. We are saying clean the closet, but at the same time, understand when you clean the
Understand
closet,
the process.
there's going to be a process in the cleaning the closet. Like you got to fold your clothes. There's going to be a process. So the person's going to take their time, but if they saying, okay, I value this relationship, what you said, I appreciate the honesty. They come back and y'all have the discussion and y'all decide to have a clean slate. Let's be clear here. It's a clean slate with the understanding that you was dishonest.
Yes,
So like
yes.
they're never gonna forget that.
Yeah.
But they're gonna now try to move past that with the idea that you're not gonna do it again or the idea that you're gonna be open going forward. So that's where the clear guidelines are. But we are talking about personal relationships. We are talking about healthy relationships. We're not talking about anything else.
Nope.
We're not here to
We're not talking about your relationship at work.
Definitely,
Like,
we're not here to entertain. We're here to be informative and have a better lifestyle, a better
Absolutely.
society. You get what I'm saying? Because we strongly believe if you are in healthy relationships and everybody's in healthy personal relationships,